The Zimbabwean president is complaining. What is he complaining about? He's complaining about a project by the United States in Zambia, a project of creating or implementing a military base in Zambia. And he is complaining. He says Zambia wants to host American base in Zambia, and that is unacceptable as per the president of Zimbabwe. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. It was quite cold earlier this morning. Put up this, whatever you want to call it. But then I went outside. A few minutes later, it wasn't cold anymore. And I felt like a stupid man having to remove this. Like when you're inside, you're indoors, it's very cold. When you get outside, like the weather has to decide itself. Like is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? Or what? And stop making us look stupid. So great. This is our story today, fellas. So that's what it is. Zimbabwe is accusing Zambia. Like, why do you need to host American base here? We don't need it. Like, the question is, do Africans need more American base, military base? If yes, what is the purpose of it? Is it to fight terrorism and stuff like that? If the goal is to fight terrorism, why can't then Americans train African soldiers into fighting terrorism or provide them an online course on how to, I don't know, does that apply? An online course on how to handle terrorism in their countries? Because the bottom line is people are very worried because it feels like most of the time when you have bases from foreign nations in your country, when the time comes to leave, it becomes a problem. I mean, we've seen it in Iraq, for instance. I'm just saying. In Iraq, they ask for the American base to be removed for whatever reason. It's their country. They can ask for that. They ask Americans to leave Iraq. Well, Donald Trump said we ain't going nowhere.
So I think we've done a fantastic job, but eventually we want to be able to let Iraq run its own affairs, and that's very important. So at some point we want to get out, but this isn't the right point. The other thing is, if we do get out, we've spent a tremendous amount of money on building airports and building, it's one of the largest embassies we have in the world, Mike, and we want to be reimbursed for the various costs that we have had. And they're very significant, but we'll work something out. And I talk sanctions, but I'm only talking sanctions if we're not treated with respect. We have to be treated with respect.
What are you going to do about it? Nothing. It's the United States of America anyway, the most powerful country in the world in terms of weapons. So I can occupy a room in your house nicely. I will come very kindly. It reminds me of, some of the times when you deal with somebody that asks you for something, a favor or money. Please give me some money. I'm going to pay you back. They come very nicely, very kindly. They're like very small kittens, too cute. But then when it comes to pay, they become tigers. Like, what do you want? That's exactly how it feels. And I believe many people are being very cautious of that. You're going to come in my country very nicely, and when it comes to leave, it becomes complicated. And this is not limited to America. Look at the French. They went to Africa in many countries, asking to provide the service. They said, we're going to help you fight terrorism. This is the case of Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. That when time came, the Malians and the Burkinabes and the Nigerians wanted them to leave the country. It became a problem. Like, we don't want to leave. We can't leave. You cannot tell us what to do. I mean, this is our country after all. If we want you, we want you. If you want to leave, you should be able to leave. But that's not the case. Leaving is always a problem. So the Zambians say it's a lie. We're not trying to host American base in Zambia. They say, having verified the veracity of the video through diplomatic channels, the government is gravely concerned with the content, which we consider an unwarranted attack on Zambia's sovereignty. This is the Zambian president saying. Says Zimbabweans are out of their mind. The president of Zimbabwe does not have grounds to accuse us of trying to host anybody. So Zambia reported Zimbabwe to SADC. SADC is a community of countries of Southern Africa. They come together to help each other. They've allowed each other, I guess, to have free visas. That's about all. They should be working together to build a stronger region in Africa, but that's not what... Not at all. Zambia has accused Zimbabwe to SADC and also to the African Union. Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema, I hope I didn't murder his name there, denies that his country is being militarized by the US. He says Zambia's army has exchanged programs with a number of countries, including the United States of America, which should not be mistaken for the US establishing a base. So in other words, we have a program, a military program with America, but it doesn't mean we're trying to open a US base in Zambia. Now, who's telling the truth? The Zimbabwean president or the Zambian president? Why would the Zimbabwean president lie? That's just a question. Why would he lie that Zambians are trying to host Americans? Why would he lie? That's what we're going to find out. Zambia says it has called two regional bodies, the African Union and the South African Development Committee, to mediate talks between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Well, Zimbabwe has been accusing its neighbor of sponsoring the local opposition since the Zambian president Hakainde Hichilema assumed power in 2021. The row deepened after President Mnangagwa disputed re-election in August last year when SADC observer mission headed by the former Zambian Vice President Nevers Mumba concluded that the polls did not meet regional and international standards. So a Zambian observer among the leaders of observers came to Zimbabwe during elections and he said the elections were rigged, in other words. So the Zambian believed that one of the reasons why Zimbabwe has been accusing them of hosting American base in the future is because they're just bitter that Zambia denounced them of rigging elections. So again, fellas, let's look into this. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. The United States of America is a beautiful country. It's a country that taught me a lot. Yeah, beautiful place, lovely people. I mean, lovely people. You find lovely people all over the world. America has many bases in the world. The USA has got 750 military bases in at least 80 countries in the world. And that is insane, fellas. Why do you need 750 bases in 80 different countries in the world? Why? To fight terrorism? Why can't you train these countries to fight terrorism on your behalf? Second question is why terrorists want to hurt you? Why you and not Zambia? Why they want to hurt you? They don't want to hurt Germany. Why terrorists want to hurt you? They don't want to hurt Morocco or Ghana or Zimbabwe or Nigeria. No, Nigeria is hit by terrorists. That's crazy stuff. Okay, Nigeria's got issues, whatever that is. I'm just asking a question. Why, out of everybody else, America has 750 military bases in 80 different countries? I'm sure they should have a program where you can train people to defend themselves in a country and shut down terrorism without necessarily having to open a base over there. I think it feels a bit intrusive in other people's space because, again, look at what's happening in Iraq. When Iraq said, you know what, we don't want your base here anymore. Please pack your stuff and leave. And it was like, okay, we're not leaving. What are you going to do about it? That is not nice. I mean, whether you're right or wrong, whether Iraq was right to say you must leave or not, when they ask you to leave, you should be able to leave, especially if it's not your country. When you say, I'm not leaving, then it becomes forceful. It's like you're trying to rape somebody. I mean, I'm just saying, right? Like, no, I don't want you to do it. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway, right? She said no. She said stop. You're still continuing. If you continue, what is it called? It says a name. Doesn't matter how much charming she was in the beginning, how lovely the words came out of her mouth sounded to you. Doesn't matter how much she touched you. If she said no, it's no. I'm just saying. If you go to somebody's country and they say no, you need to leave, and you don't want to leave, and you say do whatever you want to do, what does that mean? That's what I'm saying. Why doesn't Russia have 100 bases? And I'm not even defending Russia. Why doesn't China have 50 different bases in other places in the world? They're also powerful countries. Why doesn't France have, or Germany? I'm just asking a question here. Now, we know that in Niger, recently, they asked Americans to leave. Okay, they asked the American military base to leave. Then they called in the Russians. Do they have the right to do that? Yes, it's their right. It's their country. They can choose whoever they want to deal with. Now, is it bad that they ask Americans to leave? Well, possibly for Americans that worked in Niger and got a salary for it. It's bad because then you can't get paid for being in Niger. I can understand that. And also the investments Americans put in Niger, about $100 million to build a base where they could fly drones throughout Africa for observation purpose. Some people believe it's not observation against terrorists. Some people believe it's a spying purpose. And also, I must remind you that in Niger, after they ask Americans to leave, they haven't left completely. Just a batch of them left. We don't know if they're going to leave. They said they wanted 6 months. I mean, up until now, they haven't left. Not all of them. Some have left. They said they need 6 months to leave. Now, 6 months to leave because they have undisclosed things and military equipment that need to leave. And like secret. You have secret weapons in other people's country and they don't have the rights to monitor or know what you have. I think people should be given freedom. I'm sorry. If we're talking about the end of colonialism and freedom, independence, then it should be throughout the board. Let people run them countries. I don't think any country need military base from any other country. I don't think so. I think we should be able to run ourselves. So I talked about Niger saying they were kicked out of Niger. They asked them to leave. Now they need another base. They don't want to go back to America. We heard that they proposed to the Ghanaian president to come and install a military base in Ghana. We're not 100% sure how is that going. The Ghanaian government say, no, we did not accept. We don't know if they're telling the truth or not. If they offer you 100 million, or more than that, are you going to say no? Well, most Africans don't say no. We know there's a military base belonging to Americans in Botswana. Julius Malema spoke about it.
The landing strip that is there in the army base of Botswana They say it can land a fighter jet which can take less than 2 minutes if it wants to hit the Union building. So if America says we're fighting South Africa, it doesn't have to send anything from Washington. They are here already. And that's what Putin doesn't want in Ukraine. They want to do what they did here in Botswana, in Ukraine. And people need to know that there is a base here which can flatten South Africa in less than no time if America decides to fight with us. It doesn't have to move anything from Washington.
Now, South Africa has a policy with Russia. They are friends. They work together. They're part of BRICS. BRICS is the exact opposition to the West. Now, when you have a military base that belongs to Americans in Botswana, well, South Africa is a good friend of Russia. You know what I mean? So Botswana knows what they're gaining from that. But is that beneficial for South Africa? Absolutely not. Let me know how you feel about this. I firmly believe the world should be at peace. Should there be terrorists? No, there should not be terrorists. And everybody should come together to fight terrorism. But I don't believe anybody needs to have bases everywhere in the world because it just doesn't sound equal. Where are the African military bases in Europe? There is none. Let's respect each other. God bless.